Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Be Like Christ. We are taking a look at Job chapter 28 today, and put on your mining cap and bring your canary into the coal mine because we are talking about mining gems. More on that in our outline. Hopefully you already know what I'm talking about because you've read the chapter, but if not, hang tight. You can download our PDF on our website at tobelikechrist.com, and we've now got 28 PDFs out there on the website for free if you'd like to get them for the whole book. We are still in our second section of the book, chapters 3 through 37. Job is discussing the reasons for his sufferings with his friends, and Job is our key character, and he's going to be the main speaker in this chapter, and he's talking to these three friends who have been disagreeing with him basically this whole book. Zophar, Bildad, and Eliphaz are their names. All right, so now let us descend into the mines in section number 1, verses 1 through 11, mining for gems. So having acknowledged that some of the words of his friends contained threads of wisdom, he did that at the end of the last chapter. Remember, last chapter we talked about towards the end, it's almost like Job is agreeing with his friends that God always punishes wicked people. I think what he was doing there is acknowledging that, yes, that does happen sometimes. So he's acknowledging that some of the words of his friends have been correct, but Job makes it clear in this chapter that a full understanding of God's providential working and the way that he pours out judgment is hidden from humans. It's not as simple as Job's friends are trying to make it sound. Humans can uncover many things like gold and silver and gems in the deep earth, but they'll never mine out all the wisdom in the mind of God. Job begins this chapter discussing the pursuit of mining for precious materials. I think this is a really interesting chapter. It tells us something about how this kind of work, this kind of treasure hunting, mining was going on even, in the early days of history. So Job talks about this. He describes miners of his day who went searching for gems in the forgotten places of the world. They went to great lengths to find these riches. They moved mountains of earth and they carved through solid rock. They bored tunnels into the earth, reaching places that no man or animal had ever seen or walked on before. And they dug up sapphires and gems that glowed like fire. And they dug up rivers of gold, veins of gold and silver in the earth. They were very industrious in their work and very serious about it, and they found many precious things. So that's kind of the mining setup for this chapter. Now, Job is going to compare and contrast mining rare gems to mining out the wisdom of God. Section number 2 is verses 12 through 28, the undiscoverable gem, God's wisdom. So though man had made many great discoveries in the earth, they would never be able to fully uncover the wisdom of God, which was a gem of greater value and greater elusiveness than any of the others. No treasure seeker could find it because only God knew where it was hidden. Job said, quote, "But where shall wisdom be found, and where is the place of understanding? Man does not know its worth, and it is not found in the land of the living." Job talked about how God's wisdom was worth more than all the other precious things on the earth combined. He said, quote, "It cannot be bought for gold, and silver cannot be weighed as its price," in verse 15. He goes on and he says that wisdom was established by God at the beginning of the world when God created everything, before any human being ever existed. He's the author of wisdom and the one who established it as a virtue on the earth. So why does Job talk about all of this? Well, it's to reinforce an important point of discussion in his debate with his friends. God's wisdom was beyond human capacity to understand. Humans shouldn't expect to understand everything that God does, and that's true even today. No matter how much wisdom you obtain, it's just a small drop in comparison to the pool or the great ocean of God's wisdom. So Job didn't understand why he was suffering. He had already admitted that, but he knew that it was better to accept the unknowable complexity of God's mind than to try to oversimplify God to try to make him fit into the human mind, which is what Job's friends were trying to do. So that is Job 28. I found it to be a really interesting chapter, and I like all the mining talk, and I had to make an application for mining. So let's talk about that now. I had to think of how many analogies I can make from the mining example. Think about the extent to which people go to mine precious materials from the earth. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those documentaries about those people who run those huge mines. They have these huge machines, Just you think about construction machines that you see on the street. These like dwarf those. They're like giant earth movers to carve into the earth and then haul the dirt away, basically. So there's huge machinery. There's the manpower. There's the time, the difficulty of drilling into the earth, the danger of using things like dynamite and explosives, and the danger of cave-ins happening. And it's like it takes great effort to go looking for these things, but they go because they're worth a lot of money. What if God hid Bibles in the earth like gemstones, and the only way that you could get one was to expend the same kind of time and energy that it takes to find a ruby in the ground? Would you be out there mining for one? That's a good question, I think. Truth is, all of us are mining for something. We're expending our energy and our time searching for something, trying to achieve something, whether it's a career or a hobby or a passion project or something else. How much time do you spend mining out the wisdom of God in His Word? And I guess for this application section, I really wanted to make it more of an encouragement section. I want to, for those of you who are in Job 28 with me, this is not a often studied passage of the Bible. And if you're here with me, I want to commend you because it shows you that you are mining for the truth and the gems of God. The non-committed miners, they don't usually make it past Job 5 or 6. They go looking for another book to read when they realize how difficult some of this dialogue in Job can be. If you're here, it's because you're committed. It's because you're serious, and I want to encourage you to keep going. I want to encourage you to keep digging and never to be satisfied in the pursuit of the wisdom of God. While we certainly will never fully understand the mind and all of the wisdom that God possesses, we can follow the veins of gold that lead us closer to understanding the mind and heart of God. And those veins of gold are found in God's word, which He's given to us. So that's Job 28, and Lord willing, we'll be back to do some more mining tomorrow in chapter 29.